Okay, he's saying it's nighttime. Want to give Mom a kiss?
Good night, baby. I love you so much. Good night, baby. Good night, Shep Shep.
Good night, Sheppy. We love you. Sweet dreams of shepherd. You're gonna make it. Oh,
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Random songs and dance moves. Okay, I'm gonna come on.
Okay.
How would that work? Let's try.
Wait, are you gonna go on live on your page?
No. I'm
Okay.
gonna follow.
Okay.
Oh, God. Oh, that's not gonna work. Because of the delay. Wait. I can't. Okay. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So we're just gonna have to look at the questions like this.
Okay, but we have questions on that comment.
Oh, yes. Okay, that we can do. That's easy.
Welcome, you guys. Woohoo! So happy to be here on the Tulips and Tuscany page. Woohoo! Heather Avis.
Hi, friends. I'm so happy to be here on the Tulips and Tuscany page.
Okay, cool.
With Mercedes in her house. She's my new neighbor.
We're neighbors. Oh,
Do
yeah.
you see this light here?
Yes.
Is this gonna bug anyone?
Can you put your head in there?
adjust. Well, if we adjust. It's
Oh,
just from
man,
the-
baby belly.
It's just from this.
Yes.
Okay, wait, watch.
Easy with the
I know, it's my
plan.
favorite
No.
thing. How's that? It works.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Ooh, cute
Hi,
hair,
Gina.
Heather.
Thank you. This is my, took a shower, didn't do anything, put it in 2 braids all
Show you
day.
the bum.
And then took the braids out.
Oh, really? That's so cute.
Yeah.
Do it all the time, every day.
Well, some days it turns out like this, and some days it turns out like this. Unfortunate. But today it turned out well, so thank you.
We're part of the Big Hair Don't Care Society.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for having me on.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks,
We're so
ladies.
excited to have you on. We get to talk also with Julie, mama to Chuckles and Meatloaf. She's out and about with some girlfriends, and they're going to join us in a little bit. Julie, I think I saw you there. You waved hi. And
She's asking to come in.
you're asking to come in, and
With
I will
you.
accept you as you are. Go live with Chuckles.
This is always exciting.
Oh,
You
yeah.
never know.
Is it going to work?
It's always a fun time.
You guys, does anybody else when they're pregnant get really full faces? Can you just say yes?
That works.
Hi,
ladies. Here we are.
Never had full face. I want your face. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, mamas. Woo.
I'm here with the Treasure Valley Down Syndrome Association Moms Group tonight. We're having our Moms Night out.
That's
Here's some more of us
I want
ladies
to
over here.
be for mom's. Okay.
So I think my Wi-Fi might be too spotty. I don't know.
It's a little spotty, but we'll go with it. Julie, I think your friends have some questions.
Yes, we wanted to ask Heather about how it is that she came to adopt not just one, but 2 children with Down syndrome. If that was something that she set out to do, she said, hey, I want to adopt and I want it to be a child with Down syndrome, or if that's something that came about a little differently for her. We'd just like to know more about that. We have a local mom here who has adopted 2 little boys with Down syndrome, both of which are from Haiti. So they have that Down syndrome element as well as that similar racial element that you have with your daughter Truly. So that just was really intriguing to us, and we wanted to ask you more about that.
Yes. How long do we have?
Oh my God.
30 minutes. Okay. As quickly as possible. I never intended to have a child with Down syndrome or adopt a child with Down syndrome. We went through a bunch of infertility, and the short of it is we went with an adoption agency and found out that they had a child with Down syndrome available for adoption. And we couldn't ignore that idea, and we ended up adopting her. That's a very, very short version. I literally wrote an entire book called The Lucky Few, and that little bit takes up about the first 5 chapters. if you want the deeds.
Awesome. And I read your
Yeah,
book
and
and
then-
it was wonderful. And I have my copy that I'm going to donate to our library here at the Down Syndrome Association. So everybody can read it.
You're a sweet girl. Thank you. Yeah, and then the second time around, we weren't necessarily looking to adopt a child with Down syndrome, but we were totally open to it. And then we found out about August because this girl, Mercedes, got a phone call or got a message from his birth mom on Facebook. On Facebook, because they had just adopted Sunflower, and 6 months apart. They're 6 months apart, and she got an in utero diagnosis. Birth mom did at 7 months. Found Mercedes because their profile was still on the adoption site, but it shouldn't have been. It should have been taken down, but it should have been. And it was
All
the
meant
Lord,
to be.
The Lord's workings.
Totally meant to be.
Yeah, and so then she called me and told me about this woman, and we were at least a year away from being ready for a third kid. But we started walking towards that, and then made the decision to adopt him. And 2 months later, he was born.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking our question.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. All right, we'll log off of here because our Wi-Fi is pretty spotty. But thank you. Can't wait to watch the rest of your interview.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, Julie. Bye.
Bye.
Have a fun night. The awkward waiting.
Oh, is she off? Hi, dear.
Gone.
Okay, so now we'll hop on over to the questions that you guys asked on our Tulips page because there were quite a few, and I know a few of them had to do with heart conditions and surgeries and the scares and all that.
Yeah.
Did you want to expand on that? And talk
Yeah,
about
for
that?
sure. So someone had said that any wisdom or perspective or advice. So I think this was from a mama who's in the midst of heart stuff. So my kids are 11, 8, and 5, and my kids with Down syndrome are 11 and 5. They both had congenital heart defects. They both had open heart surgery, both at 4 months old. So Mason, my bangs are so crooked.
You're not supposed to look at yourself.
Sorry. What do I look at?
Me.
Oh. Okay, Macy. Macy was super sick. So she was born with a congenital heart defect. She had pulmonary hypertension, and was considered medically fragile. She was on oxygen 24/7, all kinds of stuff. And so she was also my first. When it came to heart surgery, it was, I mean, we just didn't know what, I mean, that's what we were doing. We didn't know anything else. And I think that a lot has to do with personality, which is fine and good, right? We all have our own personalities and the way that we bring things to the table. And part of my personality is that I'm really good under pressure and in a stressful situation, which I didn't know until she had her heart surgery.
Right.
That
I
really
feel like that's
was
the
revealing.
most stressful situation ever when your newborn baby
Yeah.
needs heart surgery.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I feel like we were just in a place, my husband and I, of like a day at a time. And so it was like, all right, today we will wake up and do heart surgery, and then we will see what happens. We had a lot of hope, but yeah, it wasn't like I was like some strong pillar the whole time. There were lots of tears and nerves and sick to my stomach feelings, and I mean, all the feelings that you have as a mom when you've got a kid who's sick or has issues or needs surgery or anything major like that. So what happened during her surgery, though, I feel like I learned a lot from that, because I went into our second surgery with August, like knowing he was going to be born with a heart defect didn't feel overwhelming or scary to me in the least, because of our experience with Macy. And so with Macy, because she had the lung thing and the heart thing, it was a lot. It was a lot. We're supposed to look at the whole time like this, or at the audience?
I like to look at you.
Okay. I like to look at you too.
Oh.
We were in really good care with the doctors, and again, during those 4 days, she was in the hospital for 4 days, 4 nights, 5 days. It was just like we just kept showing up, and I remember one point saying to my husband, like, whoa, we're doing this. Like, I've heard about the parents who have kids in the hospital and have to do these things, and now that's us, and we're doing it, and we can do it. And anytime I talk to a parent who's like, I could never, it's like, no, you can, and you will when it's your kid, right?
Like, you'll always show up.
Always show up and do it.
Right.
And do a great job because you're the mom. You do the thing you need to do for your kid. And then when we got home, So this is a word to you people, you friends who have kids with, who are going through heart stuff or scary, really scary health stuff. So we got home and away from the hospitals and all of that, and everything started to feel really heavy. It was in those first hours home, I got real scared, and my parents were there, and I just like leaned into my dad. I feel like I had just been able to have time to really reflect on what had happened. I just been like going through the motions of being in the hospital, and I just like leaned into my dad and started crying and said, "What if she dies?" Because that's just the reality, you know. Like, what if she dies? And in these next few days, there's no doctors here, there's no nurses. There's no beeping machines. And my dad said, "Oh, Heather, every breath she'll ever breathe has been accounted for, and nothing you can do will change that." And that word has stuck with us in everything, in every way we pursued life moving forward, and not in a foolish way. We're not like, well, who cares? It's not like a YOLO idea. It's just the reality with our kids, right? Like I was trying to control so much for my kids in a way that we have to because we're their parents. And we will continue to do that. But at the same time, there's nothing I could do more of or less of that is going to extend or shorten her life in that moment. Like, I'm doing the best I can. So I think for you mamas, if you're showing up and you're doing the best you can, that's more than enough, you know? And you show up and you do the best you can, and every breath your child's ever going to breathe has already been accounted for. And this also comes from my faith. So, but it's the idea of like, we can't control the number of days that we have or that our kids have, and not in a morbid way, but like in a real hopeful way. Like I'm going to show up today, do my best, you know?
Amen. I love that.
Oh, thanks, girl. Sorry.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I hope that was a little bit helpful.
Totally helpful. And I have a dog. Her name is Juno.
This is Juno. Can you see her? Sorry.
She's a boxer. She's very cute.
She might climb on my lap.
And she saw us have a moment, so she came to say hi. She's like, oh wait, I gotta be there.
Get in. Okay, there's another question. So, Cooper the Courageous has 37,395 questions.
Okay, should we try and tackle 1,000?
A minimum.
A minimum of 1,000.
20 minutes left.
What's the balance here when you're a baseline, loud, and passionate person, but also fearful of coming off as too much and turning people off to what you're trying to share? Asking for a friend. Wink,
oh my gosh,
wink.
it's funny. She wrote it here too.
Oh, you
How
did?
do you find balance between living life, all things Down syndrome, and separating this for the healthy family life?
Ooh, I love that question.
It is a good one.
It's a great question. We also kind of talk about that on our podcast too, because I feel like the Lucky Few podcast, that's it. I feel like just because you're being loud, it doesn't necessarily mean you're being helpful or an advocate. Because there is, being advocate is also being gracious, being a teacher,
A learner.
and a leader. You hold all of that. So it's okay to be passionate, but it's also okay to let everybody have a process. Because we're in it because we have a child with Down syndrome. And like myself, I was exposed to people with different abilities before having Sunflower.
Same.
But for majority or most, I don't know if majority, I don't know the amount.
She loves me.
Are you feeling
I
emotional?
love her so much.
We had to go through a process. So now that you've been through that process, you're all gung-ho, but you have to also remember that people, as now advocates, we are being teachers, learners, listeners, and leaders, that we need to let everybody go through their process too and have lots of love and grace.
So much love and grace. Yeah, and I think, I know, I just love her so much.
Oh, my doggy.
Like, in regards to, like, being all things Down syndrome and then having a family life, I think that it also goes to show that just because, like, for me, I've chosen a career, essentially. It chose me in a sense. So I've stepped into a career where Down syndrome seems like my life, but just like anyone who has a job, I have a whole family and a whole life outside of Down syndrome. So it's not like, I mean, I feel like if anyone who has a kid with Down syndrome, I feel like, and maybe it's just me, I don't know. Like, I wake up in the morning and we're just like a family,
Totally.
you know, like it's just normal. And I know it's different, but this is just my norm. And so we do normal life, and it's not, and yes, we talk about Down syndrome maybe more so than other people, but like when we're at home, and I'm not working, I'm not like writing or speaking or
Posting
or whatever it is, I'm not like sitting down with my kids like, okay, now this is what we're going to do for the Down syndrome community. We're just living life, you know, like we're just making dinner and going to the grocery store and going to the park and yelling at my kids for not cleaning up and whatever it is. So,
and I feel like you can choose your season of how much you're involved in, because sometimes like you feel the need, like World Down or what's Down Syndrome Awareness Month is coming up. So a lot of people have been talking about what are you going to do for it? How are you prepping for it? And I homeschool my kiddos now, 2 of them, and I have done no prep for Down Syndrome Awareness Month. I am literally prepping week to week their homeschool stuff. I choose to be a part of the podcast, Tulips in Tuscany, and all the things I show up for Sunflower. So that's the season I'm in right now, and that's what I'm going to do. I might show up at the Buddy Walk this year. I might not. Heather used to run the group.
we're having a team again.
Oh, okay. No,
We're
you're
not having a booth.
Oh, you're not having a booth. So I will be at the Buddy Walk because she's going to do all the work. You just have to ebb and flow and not feel the pressure that you're not advocating for your child because you're not at all the things and you're not promoting all the things and you're not doing all the things. Give yourself grace because your family unit and your child being a part of your family unit is far more important than, than the outside world. It really is.
It is.
The stronghold.
Yeah. I had another thing to say. I was going to say, oh shoot, it was really good, you guys.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's exclusive. It's okay. It was a good question. That was a good question. Oh, I think a little bit also, I think this is what it was. I'll get there through this train of thought. That we have to know the most powerful way to advocate for our kids is to just do life with our kid with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most powerful way. And so I think that we can get caught up when we see people like me or the podcast or Mercedes or people who are doing things in Down syndrome space, feel the pressure to have to like do something Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. But that's not true. If that's what your passion is, like if that is where your calling is, if that is where your giftings and things are pushing you towards, you have opportunities for that, then explore that and step into it. But don't do it for the sake of doing something Down syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or for the sake of advocacy. Just being a family unit and having a kid with Down syndrome and showing up in spaces where you would just as a family is such a powerful advocacy tool.
Yeah. Oh, what's scary? That was a mic drop. I love that, Heather.
It's about, oh, here we go. So you do only look at these questions or should we look at so many?
Well, no, we look at these questions for the conversation and then last 5-10 minutes we'll go to the comments on here.
Perfect. So people wanted about adopting.
Oh, we get this question a lot.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer it.
Okay. So this person wants to know,
while you're looking at it.
Okay.
So we're both adoptive parents to a child or children with Down syndrome. I actually know Heather from her sister Hannah, who I love and adore. Hi, Hannah, if you're watching. Before they adopted Macy, I knew Heather as just Heather and Josh. And so I got to see that whole process go down, and I got to watch them bring home this gorgeous baby girl and live life so adorably. And it was such a great example to me and what I wanted for my life. So when Andy and I decided to adopt, we decided to go the Down syndrome route, largely because you showed off your wonderful life.
Yeah. I wasn't even doing this thing.
She wasn't even talking to me about it. She was just living life. And we've seen that ripple effect through social media.
Totally.
A ton of people just saying, hey, I think I like the way that looks. I think I like the way that family sounds, and I want a part of it.
Yeah. Cute and cool, or whatever you always say. I love it.
Cool.
So this person just basically wanted to know, what are the daily challenges you face raising children with Down syndrome, which is a big question. They've adopted, so it sounds like if you're interested in adopting a child with Down syndrome, like what's the challenges with that?
Oh, that's a good question.
It is. Oh gosh, this is all so much. So adoption's a whole thing, and it's There's not one way to do it. However many children there are in the world to be adopted, that it's how many ways you can adopt a child. And then we know with our kid with Down syndrome, everyone is so different and so unique.
Right.
And has all their own unique needs and abilities. And so I say that raising kids with Down syndrome, the hardest part about raising kids with Down syndrome is raising them in a world that fails to see their full value and worth. That's my biggest struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Potty training is a bitch, but sorry. But that's, yeah. But then I also have kids who did go through medical stuff and came out on the other side. You know, like I know a lot of people who have kids with Down syndrome who are dealing with serious medical stuff for a very long time. Or whose child died because of a medical condition. I mean, those are things I can only speak from what I know, you know?
Right.
And so it's, yeah, I think that each of our kids is so unique in their own ways that it's hard to say this is the hardest thing about raising a child with Down syndrome, except what I said. I really do feel like it's the world that fails to see their full value and worth and fully embrace who they are.
I think too, there's also different factors like dual diagnoses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think us as parents, we put a lot of pressures on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it just also depends on how much pressure you want to put on yourself. Sunflower was given a ton of opportunity for different therapies. And I tried to do them all and they were killing me. So I would have said, if you would have asked me 2 or 3 years ago, what's the hardest part about having a child with Down syndrome? I would have said all the therapies. Mm-hmm. And then realizing, if you stop to realize that, I could say no to any of those therapies at any time. And I did, and I cut back a lot. And it really alleviated a lot of pressure and a lot of, a lot of stress, because I had also other babies that were also being lugged to all the appointments, interrupting Sunny's nap time. You know, it was just not healthy for the whole family. So I think also our own expectations and desire to do the best we can, we sometimes have to keep ourselves in check. So I feel like the hardest part for me is constantly keeping myself in check.
Yeah. And with that, piggybacking off of that, and I feel like it goes with this question, I think we can rope it in here, is I had a moment where it's like, okay, why am I doing the therapies? And that goes along with this question, but it's like, is there, which I'll read out loud and then you'll hear it and then understand. But is it because I want my kid to be less Down syndrome? Like, why are we going to all the therapies from a very young age and figuring that out for myself? So let me read this question and then I think it feeds into this. So this verse said, thoughts on the DS community and how we are so many of the amazing kiddos and their accomplishments, but what to do when we have a kid with complications who may never reach those goals, who may never be ready or able to participate in full inclusion, how to balance being a fierce shadow of worth with the reality of acknowledging what that means for that child. And then said, I hope that makes sense. So what I'm reading here, this is from Summer Mondays, and I might be reading this wrong, but is this overall idea of some kids with Down syndrome are doing something, some kids with Down syndrome are not going to do that. And when you're talking about inclusion specifically, I get this a lot. Like, my kid with Down syndrome isn't going to be like your kid with Down syndrome, and not mine, but just like your. And that's true for a lot of us, right? Like, I am guilty of this. I have friends whose kids are doing ABC, certain things in school, and my Mason is nowhere near that, and maybe never will, although we don't want to ever say never. And then I can start, she's not yet doing these things. And I feel like my kid is less than, or I'm less than, like these thoughts come in my mind. And I had a moment, and again, I'll tie this back to therapies. I had a moment when Macy was in kindergarten, and I was sitting in a class. She was in a program, and I was sitting in a class for the parents while the kids did their program, and we're learning about, I mean, who knows, right? How to teach your kids how to tell time, how to do a special chart for ABCs, how to do sight words, whatever it was. There's a million things it could have been. And the woman teaching the class, without even realizing it, real nonchalantly said, and isn't that why we do all of this, to help our kids be more typical? And everyone's like, yeah. And I thought, whoa. Like, I just stopped. In my gut, I just stopped and thought, no, that's not. Like, that's not why I do this. Why do I do this? Like, is my goal for Mason in August to be more typical, more like their typical peers? That's not my goal. that might be someone's goal, and I'm not going to judge that. I do have strong feelings about it for our community as a whole, but it's not my goal for my kids to be more typical. It's my goal for all of my kids, including my daughter who doesn't have Down syndrome, for them to be their best selves. So going back to therapy, yes, we're going to do therapy for my kid to be their best self, just like my daughter without Down syndrome is doing certain things in her own life to be her best self. But where is that line? Like, checking myself.
Right.
Am I doing this so my kid is less Down syndrome?
Right.
Or so that they can be the best version of themselves? And who my kids are, they have Down syndrome. And so we're going to embrace and celebrate that. And we're going to require everyone around us to do the same by reminding them of that truth as well.
Hallelujah.
Drop my earring.
I think we'll jump over to the questions that we've been getting on our Tulips page here.
Wrap it up here, you guys.
I know, sorry. Oh, I'm doing things. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, they don't see it. Down syndrome and a separate family life aren't mutually exclusive. Totally agree. Thanks, girl. My question is for Heather. I know you aren't so fond of this, but potty training tips. My son, I don't know how to say this name, but I love it. Yes, Lake is 2, and he also has Hirschsprung's disease. Oh, that seems complicated, but
doable. I don't know. I need a refresher on what Hirschsprung's disease is. That like bowels? Is that with bowels? Who can help us here? I'm gonna look it up. Okay, potty training. Here's the thing. I know I joke about it, even though I'm not joking. How do you spell it?
Okay. It is HIRS8 or SCHSPRUNGS.
Nerves are missing parts. Yeah. Nerves missing parts of the intestine. Okay. Your situation's unique. And I think that you should ask advice from someone who has been in the same situation. My potty training tips are very different because it's what I did. Mercedes has very different potty training tips.
Don't choose my road though. It's the long, hard, drawn out road. It's terrible.
We have a friend who her Instagram handle is Down with Autism. And her son Kirill is 12. Do you remember how old he is?
Yep, I think.
And 12. He has dual diagnosis with autism and Down syndrome, and he just is fully potty trained. And she thought never in his whole life. And he's all day, every day. And they did this intense weekend where a therapist came in and trained him on how to use the toilet. And it worked, and it was a miracle and amazing. But she does it all the time, so it's like a whole thing. My whole thing that I did and that I still believe in was we chose a weekend to potty train, and then we just cold turkeyed it and stuck with it. So with Mason, we decided on a certain weekend, and we spent the whole weekend doing this book called Potty Training in a Day, which is a lie from everyone. To all the people, it's a lie. But the concept is you spend this whole day training your kid how to pee. We got a doll that pees, which I thought was so stupid, but if you are stuck, get a doll that pees. It really was a game changer for us. And then Mason's day was 8 months.
Her 1D potty
training took her 8 months. And in those 8 months, a lot of times I wanted to stop and put her in pull-ups. She was in school at the time, in preschool. We started at 3.5. And her preschool teacher was like, don't you dare put her in pull-ups. We're on it. We're with you. So having a support system was helpful. And then we stuck with it. And I think had we not stuck with it, she would have been 7, 8, 9 years old before she was ready. Mm-hmm. So I don't think the term of ready, it means anything for our kids, personally. But I also was able to do that. If that like you try it and it's driving you crazy, put your kid in pull up. Like do what you need to do to stay sane. And that's fine. Do what you need to do.
I put her back in a pull up.
And it depends on what your priorities are.
Right.
And it's not that's not a good priority. It depends on what your family situation is. It depends on season of life. It depends on those things. So at the time, we had Mason only, and then we had Truly. But Truly was like 8 months old, so she was in diapers, which is just I don't know. We just
Right.
had the one.
Right. And then August trained himself.
August probably trained himself, so I don't talk about it. So as not to make parents feel badly.
He's an anomaly. Sunflower is trained in the sense that I tell her when she needs to go. So if I'm on top of it, we just go every 2 hours. And I look for her cues. And sometimes she lets me know when she has to go. But most of the time, I just have her on a potty schedule. So I don't know if I would say she's potty trained to the sense that she desires to go on her own, or if I've trained her of when to go potty and to go potty only in the toilet and not in her pull-up. And we get accidents, but for me, I have 2 younger kiddos, 4 and 2, and I'm pregnant, and the accidents were killing me.
Yeah.
So I chose, you guys, I always choose Grace. I chose to be like, well, we're fine. Go in a pull-up, and we will live every day, and you won't be in college in a diaper.
She won't.
She won't. And so, okay, this is a fun question. What are your favorite things about Truly, Macy, and August?
Oh, I like them all so much. Okay. I like about Macy, my oldest, I like how uninhibited she is and her ability to create relationships because of that. So she doesn't really worry what you think of her for a second in the best way. And so she wants to know your name and she wants to be your friend and she really loves you as you are. You don't really have to be anything else. She loves you as you are. That's one of my favorite things about Mace. Truly is a go-getter, world changer. She's so brave, and does things that I, as a child, never would have done. I was a very shy, very intimidated child, and she is not. And she's like I was afraid to ask where the bathroom is, and I make her run errands, do things for me and ask people things that I don't want to ask people, and she'll do all of it. Loves it. She's amazing. She has so much confidence. She's a great sister. And then August is full of affirmation, and in the Bible they talk about people have different giftings, and one is the gift of exhortation, and we think that's August's gift already. He just says kind things and compliments me all day.
Oh,
He affirms me all day long and just constantly wants to snuggle and tell me how much he loves me and tell me what a good job I'm doing. Mom, you're doing a great job. Mom, you got this. Mommy, thank you so much for my yogurt. Mommy, thank you for, all day.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you
That's what I love about my kids.
Okay, going back to your potty training,
Oh,
do your
yeah.
kids still wear protection at night?
Macy does. So Macy is 11 and in a pull-up at night still. Here's why. And I used to say, when she was 6 or 7, she's not going to be 8 in a pull-up. She's not going to be 9 in a pull-up. I remember really closely, clearly thinking, she's not going to be 10 sleeping in a pull-up.
Mm-hmm.
She turned 10. I'm like, oh man.
She's
She's
going
sleeping in a
anywhere.
pull-up. And now she's 11 sleeping in a pull-up. We spent a whole summer out of the pull-up trying to train her to sleep through the night without being wet. So she wakes up every morning completely soaked. She's never woken up dry in her pull-up. She's never woken up dry. She's trained to pee in a pull-up. We put her in a pull-up in the middle of the day, she would pee in it. It's like her body's been trained to do that. Mm-hmm. And so we were stressing all this for 3 months. We're up. We took her to the bathroom when we went to bed. We took her to the bathroom at 2 in the morning. We took her to the bathroom at 5 in the morning. So we're waking her up. We're waking up. Everyone's so tired. And she's still 3 out of 7 days having an accident. Or nights in the middle of the night. And she has an impure bladder. I don't know. But a friend of mine, her husband is an ER doctor. And one of their sons, who's neurotypical, no disabilities, he was having accidents at night. And they took him to a urologist. And the urologist said, and he was 10. And they're like, oh, we don't worry about this until they turn 12. Because if you're going to be a bedwetter and it's a thing to worry about, there's something physiologically about your body that changes when you turn 12. So that's my new thing. When Mason turns 12, we're going to take her out of pull-ups and try again. That's the plan.
I love it.
Unless between now and then she says she wants to be out. Then we'll give it a shot. Otherwise, sleep is so important.
So important.
And waking her up to change her and go to the bathroom.
And once the whole family unit is affected, you got to always reevaluate.
And during that season, we were in a 2-bedroom house, and all 3 kids were in one room. So
it wasn't happening.
it was not a idea. So when I found that out about the like the medical thing. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah.
You gave me a year. Another year. Okay, this is our last question, and then we're going to be all done for the night. It's kind of it's a doozy. What do you guys, it's not a happy one. It's not a bad one. No, we do hard things.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, behavioral issues. So what do you guys do regarding behavioral issues? I.e. running, pushing kids down the slide, noodling on the ground.
I don't know what noodling means, but
No, it's when they go limp. You know what
oh, we call it the flop and drop.
the flop and drop. Janae Burr, how old's your kiddo? Okay, and while she's
come back.
answering.
My kids have never done those things.
Yeah, right. I don't know, Janae.
I don't know.
Mine are perfect.
I like saying in the morning, hop up, kids.
Go right to the car.
Grab me my coffee and then put your shoes on. Brush your teeth.
Almost 5.
Okay, do you have other kids? This is a personal thing. I think that it's a personal thing.
Discipline is a personal thing.
It's very personal. I mean, I would say, like in an umbrella general statement, like don't ignore it. Do something. Come up with some kind of routine, some kind of system. Consistency is king. But I think it's really personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that I can't give a better answer than that. And you have 2.5-year-old twins.
And a 4-month-old.
Okay, girl, here's what you do. You just drop them off at the park.
Oh my
And you stay there. Just stay back.
Stay there.
And then when everyone's like, whose kid just pushed this kid down the slide? You're like, oh, I don't know. That's what you do. No, I don't know, girl. You're in a hard, this is what you do. Sorry.
This is just drowning season.
You're
Not in a bad way, but just in like, if you have all these little ones, I'm going to be there with you. Sunflower's my oldest. She's 6. Then I have a 4-year-old, then a 2-year-old, then I'll have a newborn in December. So we're just going to be a walking disaster for a little bit, and we're going to love it. And I don't know, it just seems probably like mayhem for you. And I know with Sunflower, she's only a runner when she doesn't want to come off the playground or the beach. So usually she's still young enough that I pick her up. I that's not the best for long-term behavioral, I guess, overcoming, but for me it works. I just pick her up and we go. I ask her plenty of times if she would like to be a big girl, be the oldest and walk on her own, or if she needs mommy to pick her up. And most of the time she's bummed that I have to pick her up. Like, she just doesn't want to leave. Also, front loading is pretty huge. So I usually tell Sunflower, I usually give options of, hey Sunflower, we are going to leave in about 5 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I have found that most behavioral solutions that I have for Sunflower sometimes work and sometimes don't.
But worth it when they do.
But so worth it when they do, and you're so happy and feel accomplished. But also you feel very defeated as a parent when they don't.
Yeah.
So, especially if you have other little ones in tow, it can just feel so exhausting, the battle. And Sunny does do a flop and drop, and she's tall, and she's 6, and she feels heavy now. And I don't know, sometimes I wait for that moment to pass if it's possible. Sometimes if we're at home, I walk away.
Right.
Or sometimes I have to pick her up and I have a flailing 6-year-old child.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think social stories are huge, and just Google that. There's better ways to write them than not, but it's similar to front loading. Like this, we're going to the park. If it's something that happens consistently, like we're going to the park, and then you write a whole story about how your child will behave, the expectations, and they're happy doing it, and then how it ends. Social stories are super helpful. Front loading is huge. I know, and it depends, again, like how many people are there. So if it's my husband and I, if it's the whole family out, and one of the kids is having a flop and drop or something, then I used to get really frustrated about it with Mason, and like want to like force her to move. And if we're able to, one of us will just sit with her till she's ready. Mm-hmm. She's always ready. Like, she'll turn it around every time. And this is from when she was real little, and it still happens. And then the other parent can go with the other kids and do whatever. Mm-hmm. So if there's a space for that, instead of like forcing her into it, what we need right then, it's really an opportunity to sit and join her.
Process through it with her.
And let her be who she is and knowing that our kids aren't their behavior, like
Mhm.
something else is happening.
Right.
We don't have bad kids.
Right.
Their behavior doesn't define them,
Mhm.
So, like, I think it can create opportunities for us to slow down.
Mm-hmm. But it's a hard one. Discipline is a hard one.
It's super hard.
Yeah.
And some people put some links and stuff here, so scroll
Yeah.
through and look.
We had some great.
And keep asking. Yeah, ask your community.
Right.
I think besides me, we're really good resources with this one.
Okay, guys, we are going to wrap this up and say goodbye and say that we love you, Heather. You're
Love
amazing.
you.
And you have another book that just came out. So you have 2 books. One, The Lucky Few.
Yes.
And that's your, what is that? Is that a memoir?
It's a memoir.
It's a memoir.
The Lucky Few came out in 2017. It's a memoir. And it's all the details of adoption and all the things. And then Scoot Over, Make Some Room came out this year, and it's more like a manifesto. Big on inclusion, making a space in this world where everyone belongs.
Oh, I have it.
Hello. These are for sale.
These are for sale.
Well, they're not in the shop right now because I have them all. It's a thing. Our shop will be updated. We're at theluckyfew.com, heatheravis.com. It's the same website. And we have a fun shirt coming out for Down Syndrome
Oh
Awareness
my goodness,
Month.
tell them. Can you or no?
Well, I mean, Josh is working on it right now. The design's done. Stay tuned. You can follow me at The Lucky Few Official, and you will see either tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, an announcement of our new shirt that we're
Yay.
doing. It's really cute. It's inspired by Macy.
So cute.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next week, Monday, you will be here with Julie. And Julie or Steffi or Taylor, will you remind me who Julie's going to come on with? And also, tomorrow, we're going to have another special live with Taylor and Mindy. I think, is it Cancer Awareness Month, I believe? So we are going to do a great, wonderful, heartwarming interview with a fellow mama who has a child with Down syndrome battling with cancer. So stay tuned or come back and join us again tomorrow. And let's see. Did anybody tell me? But
I don't think so.
no, that's okay. Come
Keep
back.
following along.
Yes, tomorrow and next Monday for Julie, Chuckles and Meatloaf. She's going to have a great live with some other great mamacita.
That's right. Thanks, Tulips and Tuscany. Love you guys.
Oh, love you. Bye, everyone. Oh, Sarah Roberts. Chuckles and Meatloaf will be live with Sarah Roberts. Okay,
You guys
bye.
see this dog.
Dog.
Gee.